Hey guys, it's Richard here. I just want to make a quick announcement before this video starts. Unfortunately, I could only get footage of the PSP version of Danganropa for this review, the original version of the game. Now don't get me wrong, there's loads of footage of the PS Vita version, but a lot of it's off screen, and a lot of it's nearly 3 hours, and my internet's not very good at downloading, so unfortunately I had to take the PSP version, of the game, but it's pretty much similar to the Vita version, only in that the Vita version has all its artwork redone. They have the option of English voice acting, and a few character and location names are changed. But other than that, the gameplay is exactly the same. So, just in case I didn't want anyone to get confused or anything, so I apologize once again for this, guys. It's a mistake that I won't make again, and I thank you for being patient, and I thank you for watching. So, enjoy the review, and as always, thanks again for watching. Hey guys, it's Richard here, and I thank you for joining me on my latest review here. This is a Trigger Happy Havoc Danganropa for the PlayStation Vita, developed by Spike Chunsoft and published by NIS America. Danganropa was originally released for the PSP a good few years ago and has been re-released on numerous other consoles. This is the latest re-release on PlayStation Vita, and yeah, it's actually a really good game, and here's why. The best way I can describe Danganropa's gameplay is it feels a lot like Phoenix Wright mixed with Persona 4 Golden, and I'll explain why now. There's three different styles of gameplay. There's the free time gameplay style, which basically there will be a free time and you'll be allowed to go around the areas and talk to the other characters and build up a relationship with them, earning new perks and maximizing your skill points, because perks that you use during the class trial take up skill points, so it's a benefit to maximize your skill points as much as you can. Also, you learn a lot about the character's backstory, which is really good because the character's backstories are really fleshed out and they're really well written, so it's definitely worth doing that. The second style of gameplay is an investigation type mode, like in Phoenix Wright. Basically, when a murder occurs, you have to investigate the different areas, find clues, and once you've pretty much found all the clues you need to find, you go to the class trial. Now, the class trial is where sort of Danganropa likes to put its spin, put its own unique style of gameplay, if you will. It has 5 different sort of mini games, you call them, if you really want to put something. First, you have the non-stop debate, which again is a lot like Phoenix Wright, but it differs in a way. You remember how in Phoenix Wright you had a witness come up, they'd give their testimony, you'd cross-examine them, you'd either press them on something you thought they might have made a mistake on, or you would have presented the evidence to point out the contradiction or lie in their statements. Well, in Danganropa, it does a sort of similar thing, but it differs in a way, and here's why. Basically, evidence that you pick up, that you find during your investigation, they're counted as truth bullets. When it comes to non-stop debate, basically characters will say things, and their weak words will come up in yellow, basically their lie or their contradiction. Now the thing is, right, in a couple of statements you'll see these yellow words, so you have to figure out which is the right weak word to shoot at with the right truth bullet in order to break the statement and point out the contradiction or lie. It sounds confusing, and trust me, it's really hard to explain, but when you play the game, you'll understand yourself. There's the Hangman's Gambit, where your character tries to remember a word that's connected with the case, and just like playing a game of Hangman, you have to get the right letters in order to complete the word. There's the Machine Talk Battle, which is a lot like a rhythm game. This initiates when a suspect begins to deny everything, and so you have to break their denial and sort of point out to them that they cannot deny the evidence that's being shown. And then there's the closing arguments, which is sort of like the final part of most cases. class trials, and basically you reconstruct the crime using all the evidence you've gathered during the investigation and class trial, and reconstruct the crime as it happened in a graphic novel style. And this is probably my favourite part of the class trial, because you never see the crimes being committed. If you've ever played the Phoenix Wright games, you kind of do see the crimes being committed. That's one of the most interesting things about Phoenix Wright. But in Danganropa, I think they do it in a cooler way, because reconstructing the crime sort of lets you see the crime, but in a unique way, and I think it's really well done. It's a clever idea, and I'm a big fan of it. So the gameplay in Danganropa overall is really good, and you might think, well, it's similar to other games, but it puts its own spin, and it does its own unique thing, that it's unique and it's fun, and it's one of the best parts about the game. It's gameplay. You don't see much of this kind of gameplay in games anymore, and I like it. I like it a lot. The story in Danganropa is basically, it's set in Japan, and there's this high school in Japan, in the game obviously, not in real life, called Hope's Peak Academy, and this is the school for the ultimate students, the best and brightest of their individual fields. You play as Makoto Naegi, who's an average high schooler, who got picked out of a number of random students to go to Hope's Peak Academy as the ultimate lucky student. As soon as Makoto steps foot on the campus, he falls unconscious and wakes up in a nightmare version of the school called Despair High School. He then meets up with the 15 other students who all similarly had the same thing happen to them. They fell unconscious. It turns out, though, they've now been trapped in the school to live the rest of their lives there, but there is a way they can get out if they graduate. How do they graduate? They kill one of their fellow students and get away with it, becoming the Blackened. So it's your job as Makoto to solve any murders that happen and catch the real culprit and solve the mystery of the school and unmask the mastermind behind this deadly scheme. The story in Danganropa is really good. It's well written, it has a lot of twists and turns to keep you hooked, and trust me, you won't see a lot of the things coming. If I have one tip, go into this game expecting the unexpected, because this game caught me off guard sometimes with some of the things they did. Plus, I love the atmosphere and the emotion they have in this game. It feels grounded in reality, but it also sort of does. It kind of reminds me in Persona 4. It's really grounded in reality, but it also has its sort of fantasy elements in there as well for good balance, and it works really well. Plus, the game explores themes of friendship and survival, and it has you asking yourself questions: would I do this? Would I do that? And I think that's really clever, and I like games that have you asking yourself questions, sort of questioning the morals of the game, or your morals. It's clever, and I really am a big fan. Plus, I like the characters' backstories. They're very well written. One particular mention would have to go to Byakuya Togami, who's the ultimate affluent prodigy, and he's a douche. He's basically, since his family's well connected and very wealthy, he's very I'm trying to think of the word. He's sort of on a high horse. He talks down to everyone, and he would definitely, though, be in the running for the following awards.
Jerk-off of the year. No, bastard of the year. Don't you tell me, guy I despise so much, I'd pay someone to kill you and stuff you and leave you by my bed so that when I wake up in the morning, I could roll over and punch you in the face. Of the year.
Graphically, Danganropa goes for a 2.5D sort of style. Unlike Spike Chunsoft's previous game, Virtue's Last Reward, which had rendered environments in 3D and character models in 3D, Danganropa renders its environments in 3D, but it renders its characters in 2D and some objects in 2D, giving this sort of 2.5D style, and I really like what they went for with the style. Plus, the art style, they use an anime/horror style, which I think works really well for the game. It really definitely works with the environments of the game, and I definitely think the game has a really nice style to it, which it's very hard to explain without you playing the game yourself. If you're I've got the gameplay now in the video, and you're probably seeing it right now, so just sort of, it's an interesting style, I'll put it that way, because I can't really explain it. Sound-wise, though, is where Danganropa is a bit of a mixed bag. The soundtrack is really good. It's dripping with atmosphere and emotion, and no track ever feels out of place. It's perfect for the game, and it's a really good soundtrack too. I'm a big fan of it. The voice acting, though, I'll explain why I think it's a bit mixed. So, you have a choice when you start the game to either pick the English or Japanese voice acting. I played through the game with the English voice acting. And don't get me wrong, the English voice acting is fine. The performances are decent. But, have you ever played a visual novel? And they don't have any voice acting, they just have text. Well, in Danganropa, during those sort of sections where you get a lot of text, like in Phoenix Wright, you had text and there was no speech. The developers made this really weird, questionable choice to put in like a sound clip to sort of match the emotion of the character to what was being said in the text. The only problem I have with this is sometimes it can feel out of place and it gets really repetitive. I mean, one character, an example, Mondo, he's the biker leader, ultimate biker gang leader, and he says piece of shit about 6 times during the first chapter alone, or even more. I never really counted, but he says it quite a lot, and so it's quite incredible. It just gets really repetitive, and it kind of just, you think, there's just no real point to it. I would have just preferred text. I mean, the text would have been fine. I mean, I can clearly tell they're speaking. I'm not an idiot. So I'm not a big fan of that decision. But otherwise, the sound is good. And just overall, Danganropa is a really good game. The PlayStation Vita has been struggling. Don't get me wrong. It's a portable console. Compared to Nintendo, it's really struggling. I mean, it can't find its footing. It's been sort of confused on what it wants to do. But every once in a while there's a game like this, Persona 4 was another one, that really perks the system up. It brings it up from oblivion and really gives the console its own unique sort of identity. And plus the game's just really good, and considering that this is a game you take around with you, this is a really good game. I'm really impressed with its production values, and overall I'm impressed with the story and the gameplay. I really enjoyed Danganropa, and the story actually had me cry a few times, which was incredible. I don't really cry a lot during games, and I was really surprised by Danganropa. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, and it's amazing. So overall, I think it's a great game. I give Danganropa a 9.5 out of 10, and it gets my recommendation. So that's gonna cut it for today's review, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been a while, huh? First review of 2014 out of the way. Whew. So yeah, there are going to be more reviews coming in the pipeline. At the moment, I'm playing through Thief on PS4. Next week we have South Park Stick of Truth. I'm getting that on PC. And we have more games coming out through the year. So there's going to be many reviews this year. So be sure to stay tuned for many, many more reviews. Actually, I shall point you to a friend of mine's review, because today he also released his first review of 2014. He's a good friend of mine. Father Dougal 9000, he did a review of Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, which is a funny little contrast there. I'll put a link in the description. You should definitely check him out. He's a really funny guy, great YouTuber, great reviewer. He's much better than I am. He actually uses a script. I do most of this without a script, and you can tell why, because I'm doing a lot of stutters and I mess up a lot. So, woo, production values. But yeah. Definitely go watch his review. But yeah, that's gonna cut it now for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.